Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Tuesday, May 15th, 2012. Welcome to the Sports Blitz. I'm your host, Daniel Fleming. Let's get right to it. The NBA playoffs are in full swing right now. Round two has just begun, and it's just a very exciting time of year. You know, basketball is such a popular sport, not just in America, but globally as well. And you can tell that from all the great international players that we have in the NBA. And like I said, we're in round two now, and we're down to 8 teams as far as who's going to win the NBA championship. And we know that we're going to have a new champion this year because the Dallas Mavericks, who won the title last year, were swept in the first round by the Oklahoma City Thunder. And speaking of Oklahoma City, they're going to start round two of their series coming up with the Los Angeles Lakers. And as you can see, I'm a big Lakers fan, but I fully recognize that the Lakers are an underdog in this series. Oklahoma City had an outstanding regular season. And as I mentioned, they swept the Dallas Mavericks in round one of the playoffs. So they've had 9 days of rest to get ready for their series coming up with the Lakers. Obviously, the Thunder are led by Kevin Durant, who won another scoring championship this year, averaging 28 points a game. He's just perhaps the best pure scorer that we've seen in the NBA in quite a long time. And they also have a lot of youth and a lot of depth on their team. I mean, they can go 10 deep, you know, and they've shown that throughout the regular season, and they're such a young team, and I fully expect them to be in the position that they're in for many years to come. Obviously, like I said, they're big favorites in this series. The Lakers are coming off a grueling 7-game series against the Denver Nuggets, so we'll have to see how that dynamic works out. Obviously, the Lakers are having to turn right around and play in this series, and as I mentioned, the Thunder have had 9 days of rest, so it'll be interesting to see how that works out, especially in the first game. In the other Western Conference semifinal matchup, you've got the San Antonio Spurs taking on the Los Angeles Clippers. The Spurs are also going to have a long period of rest. They're going to have 10 days of rest before starting their series against the LA Clippers. And the Clippers are also coming off a big 7-game series against the Memphis Grizzlies. Obviously, when you talk about the LA Clippers, it starts and ends with CP3. You know, Chris Paul is just an outstanding point guard. And, of course, the Clippers were able to trade for him in the offseason. Chris Paul had spent his entire career with the Hornets before being traded to the Clippers. And it just goes to show that in the NBA, one superstar can make all the difference in the world. You know, we saw that with LeBron James leaving the Cleveland Cavaliers to go to the Miami Heat. Obviously, the Cleveland Cavaliers haven't been the same, and they won't be the same for quite a while. And we'll talk more about the Heat in just a minute. Now, as far as the Eastern Conference semifinals are concerned, those series have already started. And you've got the Philadelphia 76ers taking on the Boston Celtics in what should be a very good series. I think the Celtics have a lot of experience, and obviously they have an amazing point guard themselves in Rajon Rondo. You know, Rondo is just a triple-double machine. You know, he just affects the game, you know, in so many ways. And I can't say enough about the play of Kevin Garnett here lately. You know, it seems like Kevin Garnett has found the fountain of youth, and it seems like he's playing the way he did when he was a superstar with the Minnesota Timberwolves. And obviously the Celtics also have Paul Pierce and Ray Allen, the best three-point shooter of all time, and an amazing coach in Doc Rivers. You know, this isn't their first barbecue. You know, so I expect them to win the series, although I think Philadelphia will give them a pretty good series. I see it going, you know, about 6 games or so, but I think Boston will end up winning that series. And I talked about the Miami Heat earlier. They of course, are going to be playing the Indiana Pacers in the Eastern Conference semifinals. And game 1 of that series has already taken place, and Miami suffered a pretty big blow with their power forward, Chris Bosh, suffering an abdominal injury. And he's out indefinitely, according to reports. So I don't think it'll affect Miami as much in this series. I mean, I still think even without Chris Bosh, they should be able to get past Indiana simply because of their defense. You know, LeBron James, the 3-time MVP, is an outstanding defensive player. You know, people talk about his offense, as they should, but he doesn't get enough credit for his defense. And the same thing goes for Dwayne Wade. You know, he's an outstanding player on both ends of the floor. And, of course, a former NBA champion. He won a championship before LeBron James got there. So, obviously, Dwayne Wade knows what it takes, and LeBron is obviously striving to get that first championship under his belt. He knows that that's what great players are measured by, is how many championships you've won. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens in these series, and I'm just very anxious to see what happens. So that's about it for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see all of you next week.